What if I told you that the biggest difference between a trader who lasts a decade and one who blows up their account in 4 months isn't some secret strategy? Nope, it's a single piece of simple math they do before every single trade. So today, we are breaking down the one concept that is the absolute bedrock of survival in the markets: position sizing. And listen, this isn't just theory. This is a direct quote from a trader who learned this the hard way. A single calculation, something that takes just a few seconds, literally stood between them and a catastrophic loss. That's the real power we're talking about here. Not the power to always be right, but the power to stay in the game, day after day.
And this is what happens when you ignore it. A 2 lakh rupee account completely wiped out in just 4 months. And this isn't some rare cautionary tale. This is the default outcome for the vast majority of new traders who focus only on finding winners and have no plan for managing the losers.
So how in the world does an account get wiped out that fast? Let's peel back the layers on this disaster. Let's look at the real story behind that 2 lakh rupee loss.
It all starts with what seems like a small fire. In month 2, the trader is risking a huge 8% per trade, and the account takes a pretty significant hit. Then, by month 3, you can feel the panic setting in. They're getting desperate, trying to win the money back fast. And by month 4, it's just full-blown revenge trading, risking an absolutely insane 15% on a single idea, which of course quickly leads to a zero balance. Did you notice the pattern? The risk percentage actually increases as the losses get bigger. That, right there, is the death spiral.
So, how do you prevent that death spiral? Well, you don't fight emotion with more emotion. You fight it with simple, cold, hard, unbreakable math. We're going to forget about getting rich quick for a minute. This is the math that keeps you from going broke. To really see how this works, let's imagine a really simple scenario. Okay, we've got 2 traders. They both start with the same amount of money, and they take the exact same 3 losing trades in a row. The only thing that's different between them is the percentage they risk on each trade. Now just look at the compounding effect of these losses. Trader A, who's risking a massive 10%, is already down below 73,000 rupees after just 3 bad trades. But look over at Trader B, who's risking a professional standard of 2%. They're still cruising at over 94,000 rupees. Trader A is in a really deep hole, while Trader B barely even has a scratch.
And here's the real gut punch. To just get back to where he started, Trader A now needs to make a massive 37% return on what's left of his capital. I mean, that is incredibly difficult. Trader B, on the other hand, only needs a 6.3% gain, a much, much more achievable target. The point is this: small losses are just a manageable part of doing business. Large losses are a catastrophic setback.
All right, we've seen the problem in excruciating detail. Now, it's time for the solution. And it's not some secret indicator or a complex algorithm. It's a simple formula that professionals use on every single trade, without exception.
It's called position sizing, and here is the formula that powers the whole thing. Your position size, which just means how many shares you buy, is simply your total risk amount divided by your risk per share. That's it. That is the entire secret right there on your screen. Now, let's break down what each part of that formula actually means.
It really just boils down to 3 simple steps. First, you decide your risk in hard cash, say 2% of your total account. Second, you figure out your risk on the trade itself. That's just the price difference between where you buy and where you'll put your stop loss. And third, you just divide that first number by the second. It's really that straightforward.
Okay, theory is great, but let's make this real. We're going to walk through a practical example, step by step, so you can see exactly how this works in a live trade scenario.
Okay, so here's our trade setup. Let's say we have a 1 lakh rupee account and we've set a firm rule. We will not risk more than 2% on any single trade, period. We see a stock we want to buy at 500 rupees, and our plan says that if it drops down to 480, we cut our losses and we get out.
Step 1 is to calculate our maximum risk in rupees. 2% of 1 lakh is 2,000 rupees. That is our line in the sand. No matter what happens, this is the absolute most we can lose on this trade if it goes against us.
Step 2, we find the risk per share. Simple math. The distance from our entry at 500 down to our stop at 480 is 20 rupees. So that's our risk for every single share we decide to buy.
And now for the final step, the magic moment. We take our total risk, that 2,000 rupees, and we divide it by our risk per share, the 20 rupees. The answer is 100. So to honor our 2% rule, we buy exactly 100 shares. No more, no less. The math has spoken.
So why is this little formula so incredibly powerful? Well, for one, it takes your emotions and throws them completely out of the equation. It forces you to control your maximum loss before you even get into the trade. And brilliantly, it adjusts for volatility. Think about it. If you have a wider stop loss because a stock is choppy, the formula automatically tells you to buy fewer shares. This is the mechanism that ensures you can survive the inevitable losing streaks.
Now, knowing the formula, that's actually the easy part. The hard part is avoiding the psychological traps that make you want to ignore it. Let's cover the biggest ones right now.
Okay, the first and by far the biggest trap is emotional sizing. You get that good feeling about a trade, you feel really confident, and you decide, I'm going to go bigger on this one. This is pure gambling. Your confidence is not an edge. The math is the edge. The math decides your size, not your gut feelings.
Next up is the trap of round numbers. This one's subtle. The formula might tell you to buy, say, 73 shares, but your brain just wants to buy a nice, clean 100. By rounding up like that, you are consciously choosing to break your own risk rules. If the math says 73, you buy 73.
And this brings us right back to that death spiral we talked about, revenge trading. After you take a loss, the temptation to double down and risk even more to make it back is just immense. But the correct professional approach is the exact opposite. Because your account is now smaller, your next position size, based on that same 2% rule, must also be smaller. This acts as an automatic brake, protecting you when you are at your most vulnerable.
You see, the crucial thing to take away from all this is a fundamental shift in perspective. Trading isn't about the genius of predicting the future. It's about the discipline of managing the present. It's less about being right, and way more about surviving your own mistakes long enough for your winners to actually count.
And that leaves us with one final question for you to really think about. When you place your next trade, are you doing it to prove you're right and get that little dopamine hit? Or are you doing it with a plan that guarantees you can show up and trade again tomorrow and the day after that? Because the answer to that question will determine your entire future in the market.